Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. We had also seen how the modern man is in search of peace, and there all the traditional methods of getting peace of mind by the Western models are failing, and that is why the people all over the world are now coming to take the nectar of Vedanta, yoga and meditation, to get peace in everyday life, to have a proper equipment for stress management. The greatness of Gita also, we had seen all the great people have talked highly about Gita. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna used to say that the whole essence of Upanishads is in Gita, and so one should read it every day. His direct disciple Swami Brahmananji Maharaj used to say that I have myself experienced that whenever the mind is clouded, reading of the Gita immediately removes the confusion and gives us peace and understanding. Many people have talked highly about the Bhagavad-Gita. We know it, but it is better to repeat ourselves, because that gives us the impetus to study Gita with more concentration and with more devotion. So, Mahatma Gandhi says, when disappointment stares me in the face and all alone I see not one ray of light, I go back to the Bhagavad-Gita. I find a verse here and there, and I immediately begin to smile in the midst of overwhelming tragedies. And my life has been full of external tragedies, and if they have left no visible, no indelible scar on me, I owe it all to the teaching of the Bhagavad-Gita. Aldous Huxley, the great historian, says, the Gita is one of the clearest and most comprehensive summaries of the perennial philosophy ever to have been done. Hence, its enduring value not only for Indians but for all mankind. You know, when the first translation of the Bhagavad-Gita was brought out, that time, in his preface to the English edition of the Gita by Charles Wilkins in 1880, Warren Hastings, the first British Governor-General of India, declared that the writers of the Indian philosophies will survive when the British dominion in India shall have long ceased to exist, and the sources which it yielded of wealth and power are lost to remembrance. And that is why Aldous Huxley calls it a perennial philosophy, which is going to give the power for whole of mankind for ages to come. Encyclopedia of Religion says Gita is the most beloved and widely read scripture in India. Great personalities like Edwin Arnold, who has translated Gita with the name Song Celestial, Emerson, Walt Whitman, Thoreau, so many of them have written highly about Bhagavad-Gita. Burnoff, the French translator of Gita, says, no greater book has ever come from the hands of man. Many of them have written commentaries. That is, many of our saints like Shankaracharya, Sridhara, Ramanujacharya, so many of Acharyas have written commentaries. And then in the modern context also we find many eminent writers have written commentaries. Thousands, as I told you, thousands and thousands of copies have been sold, and many great personalities have derived great inspiration, great solace, great happiness and peace from this Gita. So Swami Vivekananda says the teachings of Krishna as taught by the Gita are the grandest the world has ever known. He who wrote that wonderful poem was one of those rare souls whose lives sent a wave of regeneration through the world. The human race will never again see such a brain as his who wrote the Gita. So we find so many people have talked highly about Gita. And what does Gita Mahatmya says? Gita itself you will find in the end there is the Gita Mahatmyam. There it is told, Gita Shastram idam punyam yah patet prayatapuman Vishnu padavapnoti bhayashoka divarjita. He who diligently reads this sacred scripture, the Gita, becomes free from fear and sorrow and attains the region of Sri Mahavishnu. Gita dhyana shilasya pranayama parasya naiva santi papani purva janma kritani cha. For him who is in the habit of studying the Gita and doing pranayama, there are no sins even of previous births. Malanirmochanam punsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitam bhasisnanam sansara malanashanam. Daily baths in water cleanses man externally, but a single bath in the waters of the Gita removes the taint of samsara, that is a cycle of transmigration. So it is malanirmochanam punsam jalasnanam dine dine and sansara malanashanam sakrit gitam bhasisnanam. Gita sugita kartavya kimanyai shastra vistarai ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padma dvinisrita. Why go in for other elaborate scriptures when you can chant the Gita which is issued directly from the lotus mouth of Padmanabha, that is Sri Mahavishnu himself? Why go to in vain in search of other scriptures? Bharata amrita sarvasvam Vishnur vaktra dvinisritam Gita gangodakam pitva punar janmana vidyate. There is no rebirth for one after drinking the waters of the Gita Ganga, which has flowed out of the mouth of Sri Mahavishnu and which is the quintessence of the nectar that is Mahabharata. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantrasya Namani Yani Karma Apekam Tasya Devasya Seva. The song of the son of Devaki, Krishna, is the one scripture, that is Gita. That is the only scripture. The son of Devaki is the only one God. His names form the one mantra, and service of him constitutes the only duty. That is how it has been praised. The reading of Gita is so very elevating and so very fructifying. So we should be thankful to Swami Sharadananji for this great Gita Yagya that he has arranged. So we are able to take nectar of Vedanta in the form of Gita. Because the whole essence of Vedanta, the essence of the Upanishads is given in the Bhagavad-Gita. And we start with the opening scene. First chapter starts Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yutsavaha mamaka pandavascheva kim akurvata sanjaya. Kim akurvata sanjaya. That is, the Dhritarashtra asks Sanjaya. Sanjay is having Doordarshan. You know, that time we are now having Doordarshan, but Sanjay was having that special facility of having a look at the war from a long distance. Divya Chakshu he had got with a special facility. He wanted to give it to Dhritarashtra, but Dhritarashtra said, no, I can't see with my own eyes this destruction of my own sons. So better you give it to Sanjay. Sanjay will give a running commentary. So Sanjay is giving a running commentary what all is happening through Doordarshan, through TV. He is seeing everything, what is happening there in Mahabharata, and is broadcasting the running commentary, it is what is happening in the war. So now, already he has told so many things, but Dhritarashtra was not so much this one. After so many days of war, when Bhishma is also injured and has fallen, at that time, suddenly Dhritarashtra gets a shock. Because he was always thinking, no, we will win. When Dhritarashtra, when Bhishma also fell down, Then Dhritarashtra became full of tension. So then he asked Sanjay, what happened? Sanjay said, I already told you so many times what all has been happening from so many days I am telling. He says, no, you start from the beginning. How it all happened, how it started. How it all started. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yusava mamaka pandavashcheva kiva kurmata Sanjay. That is, what did they do? Please tell me. That is how the first chapter starts, the first chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, and the first sloka starts. So it is called Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra. It is Kurukshetra is called Dharma Kshetra. There is a historical importance to it. We will not go into the details. But one king Kuru had met tapasya, and then so it became a Dharma Kshetra. There was a blessing that whosoever dies will have a good rebirth. But this Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra, that is what Dhritarashtra says. The internal meaning is this. What did they do? These Pandavas and my sons. You see, actually Pandava and Kaurava both are the sons of Dhritarashtra. But we find here the real thing comes out. That means Kauravas are my son and Pandavas are Pandavas. They are different. So Dhritarashtra had that partiality that speaks in this shloka. So the first chapter starts with this. The scene is a battlefield. The armies are there, fully ready for charging. And then he says, what did they do? And then this Kurukshetra is Dharmakshetra, this war. So this war has been given as the scene. So many people, they say, reading of the Gita will be not conducive to peace of the world. Rather, it is a war-mongering philosophy that is telling. So one should not read Gita. No. This war is not the war between two nations. This war is not the war of two enemies. No. It is a war between righteousness and unrighteousness. Dharma and adharma. So, all along Kauravas have been giving all types of troubles to Pandavas. And after that, what the Pandavas had the right to the full, they agreed for the half. Last of all, they agreed, okay, we don't want war, only 5 villages. Only 5 villages. And they sent Sri Krishna himself for getting a treaty, for getting compromise. But Duryodhana says, as long as I am alive, I am not ready to give even a small fraction of a needle's worth land. I will not give. Whatever you do. So, the only alternative was war. And that is why Sri Krishna says, now they tried all their means for avoiding the war. You go on sending the messages to the terrorists, and if the terrorists are bent upon killing millions and millions of innocent children and women and people, will you not take action against those terrorists? Will you sit idle? Lot of atrocities on black people going on. Will you sit idle? Will you not wage a war? It is a holy war. It is a righteous war. That war has to be fought. There is a second opinion that Gita, in the Bhagavad-Gita, whatever has been told, it is the war between evil tendencies and good tendencies, both of us, which are within our mind. So, the war is always going on. In our own self we find, sometimes we feel like going to satsang, and sometimes our mind says, no, let us go for a cinema, let us go for a sea beach. So, always, there are two types of tendencies within our mind. Sometimes jealousy comes, sometimes anger comes, sometimes lust comes, sometimes greed comes. All these tendencies are there. Sometimes good tendencies also come. But good tendencies are only 5. Bad tendencies are 100. Kauravas are 100 in number. And good tendencies only 5. And not only that, they have got bigger army. Bad tendencies have got bigger army. And Pandavas have got less army. Not only that, these Kauravas, they go on doing all sorts of atrocities on. So, the good tendencies are always overcrowded by the bad tendencies. So this war is going on between our mind. So many people are of the opinion this is just an allegory. It is just only an example how the war has to be fought. Because inside we will find, and that meaning is also very valid, because whole of Bhagavad-Gita, what do we find is the how to conquer the evil tendencies by various means. The whole thing is purification of mind, how to achieve, how to conquer the evil tendencies of our mind. So that meaning is also valid. And some people are of the belief, no, actually it is a war, and so the meaning is we must have a war, but of course a righteous war, it is a war between righteousness and unrighteousness. And there are some people who believe that both the meanings are true. Yes, in the external world also, whenever there is injustice, whenever there are atrocities, we must wage a war. Of course, that war may not be done with nuclear bombs necessarily. The times have changed. At that time it was necessary to go with horses and elephants and swords. Now it is time of democracy. The times have changed. The war has to be learned, and Mahatma Gandhi has given us a new weapon of non-cooperation, with which even South Africa won the war. So but war must be won. War must be fought. The fight must be there against injustice, not necessarily through weapons, not necessarily through atom bombs or nuclear bombs, but the war has to be waged. In the external world, in the external society, whenever we find the injustice is being done, whenever we find the virtues are being superseded by the vices, the bad forces, there we must raise a cry, we must raise a voice against those evil forces. So that is a holy war. And not only that, if the Bhagavad-Gita is being practiced, understood properly, all the wars will end. If all the people adopt the message of Bhagavad-Gita, there will be world peace. Not only that, there is no other alternative to world peace rather than the message of Gita. How? Why? If you find today lot of wars are going on, we do not know. Lot of wars are going on already. Cold wars going on, and real wars also going on. Maybe not, this third world war has not yet come. Somehow it is being avoided. But small wars are going on. There is a book by Samuel P. Huntington, recently published, book by Samuel P. Huntington. The name of the book is The Clash of Civilization and Remaking of the New World Order. The Clash of Civilizations. And there he writes, after statistical analysis, giving the facts and figures, that during last 50 years, all the wars that have been fought, so between various countries, have not been the war between countries. They have been the war between civilizations. It has been the clash of civilizations. It has been the war between religions. And more specifically, 90% of the time, it is the war between Islam and Christianity. Outwardly it appears that two countries are fighting. It is not two countries fighting. It is the fundamentalists of the two countries fighting against each other's religion. That is what that book says, Samuel P. Huntington. And so, if we really want world peace, most importantly, this message of harmony of religions should be given, which has been given in the Bhagavad-Gita. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tans tathaiva bhajameham. Whosoever comes to me in whatever form, I receive his worship. This is what Sri Krishna says thousands of years ago. And Sri Ramakrishna came and verified it in his own life and told, yes, I myself practice all religions and all religions lead to the same goal. And that is why on 11th September 1893, Swami Vivekananda, gave that message of harmony of religions in the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago and told that there has been more bloodshed in the name of religion, which has supposed to give peace, more bloodshed, fundamentalism, sectarianism, bigotry have long dazed this earth with blood. Now their time has come, and I fervently hope that the bell that tolled this morning in the honor of this convention may be the death knell of all sorts of fanaticism, of all sorts of atrocities in the name of religion. And he gave that message of harmony for religions and fervently hoped and fervently appealed to the people to refrain from dogmatism, to refrain from sectarianism and bigotry. Some people heard, but most of the people did not hear. What happened? 11 September, mark the word date. Same 11 September 2002, the World Tower smashed. Smashed. Why? Sectarianism, bigotry. Had the Americans accepted that message of Swami Vivekananda of harmony of religions, these fundamentalist forces would not have attacked those world towers. So 11 September 1893, Swamiji gave the warning, if you don't listen, you are going to be trouble. 11 September 2002, world tower broke because they didn't listen. So dogmatism, fundamentalism has to go. War has to be waged against fundamentalism by the message of harmony of religions that is given by the Bhagavad-Gita, that all God is only one. There are many paths leading to the same goal, and you come in whatever form, whatever path you take, you ultimately will reach me. Don't worry. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. This is the shloka of the Bhagavad-Gita which was quoted by Swami Vivekananda in Chicago Parliament of Religions. And today, if we want to have world peace, Samuel P. Huntington says, first of all, this class of civilizations has to be avoided. First of all, these fundamental forces have to be checked. The war in the name of religion has to be checked. Otherwise, the war between countries cannot be checked. So if you want really world peace, then this message of Bhagavad-Gita, of the harmony of religions, has to come. Then only gradually the world peace will come. So Bhagavad-Gita is not a war-mongering philosophy, rather it is only hope for avoiding world war, for having world peace. It is only hope. This message of Bhagavad-Gita of synthesizing all paths, of synthesizing all religions, of synthesizing all types of philosophies. Not only that, which is preaching universal love and harmony. Universal love and harmony. Sarvata pani padam tat, sarvata kshishiro mukham, sarvata shruti malloke, sarvam avritta tishtati. Everywhere His hands, everywhere His feet, everywhere, O Lord, You are present. Once we accept this philosophy, whether a person is black, whether a person is white, whether he is red Indian, whether he is Indian, whether he is British, whether he is American, whether he is Muslim, whether he is Christian, whether he is Hindu, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality, in each and every human being is the same Lord sitting, is the same Atman sitting, is the same soul sitting. If we accept this philosophy of Gita, no more conflict, no more war, no more tussle, the world peace will come. When the Second World War was going on, at that time there was a Treaty of Versailles. At that time, Dr. Josiah Oldfield gave a beautiful remark. He said, more wars are caused by bad-tempered people seeking to discuss peace measures than by good-tempered people seeking to discuss war measures. More wars are caused by bad-tempered people seeking to discuss peace measures, peace treaty, rather than by the good-tempered people trying to discuss war measures. So it is not the type of discussion that takes place. It is the type of people who are discussing that decides the matter. Unless until you can change the mentality of the people, unless until you can change the mindset of the people, unless until there is a total paradigm shift in the thinking of the human beings, particularly the persons who are trying to have a discussion on whether there should be war or not, there is absolutely no hope of avoiding the war. And that is why UNESCO preamble says, since wars begins in the mind of people, since wars begin in the mind of people, it is in the minds of man that the defense measures must be constructed. Since wars begin in the mind of people, it is in the mind of people that defense measures must be constructed. So until our mindset changes, unless until our thinking process changes, unless until we develop that broad outlook of mind, there is no possibility of avoiding war, of having world peace. And so Gita not only gives, Gita is not a warmongering philosophy, rather it is the only hope for having world peace. But of course, now most of the time we are going to focus on mental peace, not the world peace, but mental peace, with which we are much more concerned how to get happiness in everyday life, how to get mental peace, and then how to get eternal peace and eternal happiness, with which we are concerned. So here, this is how the first scene starts, and then Sanjay says that Duryodhana came to Dronacharya, and he is describing the type of great warriors that are on the side of the Pandavas, and then tells, you see, on our side also there are some people, but their army is much stronger. And then he says, so please try to protect Bhishma. He is very diplomatic. Duryodhana, very diplomatic. So he purposely says, because he is finding, if at all there is some danger, it is danger from Bhishma. Because Bhishma, though he is fighting out of compulsion from the side of Kauravas, but basically he sympathizes with the Pandavas. Anytime he may change over. He has got afraid. And so he is very much afraid. So he says, diplomatically says, please all of you try to protect Bhishma, because their army is stronger and our army is not strong. So, in a way, he is trying to give a taunt to Bhishma. So Bhishma immediately starts, first conch shell he blows, because he is the general. He is the general from Kaurava side. Immediately blows the conch. He got the message. So he immediately, and then all people started blowing their conches, and there was a great tumult of voices. This all has been described in the Bhagavad-Gita. This is the beginning scene. Then Arjuna tells Sri Krishna, O Lord, please take my chariot in the middle of the two armies. One side Kauravas, one side Pandava. In the middle, you please take my Ratha. Because charioteer is Sri Krishna. So he tells, why should I take it? He says, Yavadetta nirikshaham yodhu kaman avasthitan kairmayasa yodhavamyam asmi drana samudyame. Let me have a look at the warriors who have come to fight against us. Let me have. You see how nicely he talks, how boldly he talks. Let me see. I want to have a look at those foolish people who have come to side with Duryodhana. Let me have a look at them. And so Sri Krishna brings the chariot in the middle of the two armies. And then what happens? Gone. After there, he had come to see the great enemies in the opposite party. Instead of seeing the enemies, what does he say? Shashura, Shala, Sambandhinas tatha. He started seeing relatives, friends, Dronacharya, my guru, Bhishma, my grandfather. Likewise, he is going to see relatives. He started seeing relatives in them. And faint-heartedness comes. He becomes depressed. He loses his courage. And then he tells Sri Krishna, I don't want to fight. He becomes nervous. Sometimes it happens. Many students, they are very, no, I am going to appear, I am going to appear for the examination. But on the day of examination, suddenly they feel so nervous, no, I will not give exam. Let me take a drop. So Arjuna also wants to take a drop from the examination. Suddenly he is filled with nervousness. This is called neurosis. When the patient, it is a kind of psychic disease, and Sri Krishna is a great doctor. He knows when the patient has been, neurotic patients have to be treated in a different way. So normally Sri Krishna is a great friend of Arjuna, very loving, very sweet, but now he thinks, now he knows this fellow requires a strong dose, mild dose will not do. So when Arjuna sits down, I am not going to fight, no. And then not only that, I am not going to fight, he gives a very big lecture to Sri Krishna. You see what will happen by fighting with Kauravas. See, there will be a lot of bloodshed, lot of people will die from both the people. And what will we achieve by killing these Adatais? You see, when the mind becomes clouded, when a person becomes full of weakness, two things happen. Either he himself acknowledges that I have become weak, or he wants to cover his weakness by some other means. And he says, no, I am okay, but you are not okay. He tells Krishna, you are not okay. You don't understand. This war is not good. Just 5 minutes back he was telling, let me see who have come to fight, and immediately he changes his stand. He says, no, war should not be done. No, we have done a wrong thing. War should not be done. So much of bloodshed will be there. Families will be, and big lecture he gives, how the families will be destroyed, and Varna Sankara, it will become Varna Sankara, how the families will be destroyed, and so many things. And Sri Krishna is listening everything. Then finally, Arjuna sits down in the chariot. I will not fight. And just sits down. He goes and giving lecture. Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmo vi bhavatyuta adharma vi bhavan krishna pradushyanti kulastriha strishu dushtasu vashaneya jayate varna sankara sankaro narakayeva kulagnanam kulasya patanti pitro yesham luptapindodaka kriya doshai rete kulagnanam varna sankara karakai utsadyante jati dharma kuladharmasya shashvata utsanna kuladharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavatitino sushrama. Like that big long arguments he gives that why this war is not proper. Oh, bhat mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yad rajya sukhalobhena hantum sajana muddita yadi mam apritikaram ashastram shastrapaneha dhata rashtra ranehannu tanme kshemataram bhavet. And declares, even if these dhata rashtra, these Kauravas, they kill me without weapon, I am ready to do that, but I am not ready to fight with them. Eva muktva arjuna sankhe ratopasta upavishat visrujya shashram chapa sokasham vignamanasa. And like that he gave a big lecture and said down, I will not fight. He put the Gandhi. Before that he has explained his position that Gandiva is getting away from him, and then his mouth has become parched. You know, when one becomes nervous, too much nervous, whether it is the time of examination, whether it is some calamity has come, the mouth becomes parched and there is shaking of the body. All these things have come to Arjuna. He has become a typical patient of neurosis. And now, afterwards, he gives a big lecture to Krishna that it is not proper to have a war. And not only that, he sits down. I will not fight. Just imagine the situation. Both the armies have already declared the starting of the war. Conch-shells have already blown. And both the armies are just ready for fight. And at that time, the general, Arjuna was the general. He was not an ordinary soldier, not an ordinary captain, or not a lieutenant. The general of the whole army says, I will not fight. I will give a walkover. Defeat without fighting. Imagine the situation. And Sri Krishna is the kingmaker. Though he is a charioteer, it is he who is managing the whole show. What would happen to Krishna? Had there been anybody else, he would have got stroke. He would have collapsed on the battlefield. The general himself is telling, I will not fight. If any soldier says it's okay, he can be removed. But the general says, I will not fight. Whole Pakistan army is here, and the India general says, the president, prime minister, all of them say, let Pakistan come and win over, but we are not going to fight. Let them come and capture India. What will happen? What will happen? Imagine. The same situation has come. He says, let Kaurava come and kill me, but I am not going to fight. No. At that time, what would be the happened situation to Krishna? But Krishna's tam tata krapya avishtam ashrupuna kulekshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. Sanjay says, when it happened like this, what did Sri Krishna do? He did not collapse. He did not have a heart attack. No. He immediately could recognize, now this fellow is become a patient, neurotic patient. This fellow requires a strong dose. So he immediately says, Kuttatsva kashamalmidam vishame samupasthitam anaryam ajustam aswargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. From where has come this faint, this kurbuddhi to you? From where? This suddenly came. Just now you were talking nicely. Let me see who have come to fight. So why suddenly this thing has come? When so Arjuna has this weakness, not entertained by honorable man, not conducive to the attainment of heaven and leading to ill fame, come on you at this crisis. This is a time of crisis. Both the wars, both the armies have just started fighting. At this time of crisis, how this faint-heartedness come to you? And then Sri Krishna gives a very strong dose. Klebyam mas magamah partha naitvatta hyupapadyate kshudram hriday dorbalyam takto tishta parantapa. Get up! Yield not to unmanliness, O Partha. It is not worthy of you. Shaking off this mean faint-heartedness, arise, O scorcher of foes. Very strong dose. For any human being, for any male person, the worst word that can be told has been told by Sri Krishna. Klebyam man. Unmanliness. You are a coward. Not only coward, he says, unmanliness. Klebyam. Klebyam. Yield not to unmanliness. This does not befit thee. You are a man, you are Arjuna, the best of men, and having unmanliness. Klebyam mas magamah partha naitvata hyupapaddate kshudram hriday dorbalyam. Give up this faint-heartedness, mean faint-heartedness. Oh, get up for fight. Very purposely Sri Krishna uses that very, very bad word, very pinching word, and it really, that dose works. Arjuna cannot tolerate that word. So immediately he becomes this one. What happened? With this strong, otherwise he was just like this. I will not fight. But when any amount of good words would not have done anything, but when this word was given by Sri Krishna, that dose, and he becomes restless. Then he comes to senses. Then he recognizes, no, it is faint-heartedness that come to me. So far, he was thinking he was very wise. He was talking very wisely. And he was thinking Sri Krishna is not wise. And so he was giving a big lecture to Sri Krishna, what are the evils of war. But now, after receiving the strong dose, he understands, no, it is I am at the fault. So now, he surrenders at the feet of Sri Krishna. Karpanye dosho pahata svabhava prichami tvam dharma samudhajita yasya yasha nishitam bruhitam me shishtasteham shadimam tam prapannam. I am your disciple. I have surrendered myself to you. I really do not know what I should do, what I should not do. I am in two minds. Please help me. Now he has come to little senses. This shloka, very important for all of us. So Swami Vivekananda, while explaining this shloka, says beautifully that only this one shloka, the whole message of Gita has come. The whole message of all the Upanishads is in Gita, And the whole message of Gita is only in this one shloka. Always remember this one shloka. Whenever you are depressed, whenever you are having problem, whenever you are in crisis, whenever you become faint-hearted, whenever you lose confidence, whenever you lose courage, for anything, maybe a family problem, maybe a problem in the society, maybe a mental crisis, maybe internal problem, whatever problem, anytime there is any crisis, remember this shloka and it will fill your mind with tremendous courage, tremendous power, tremendous confidence. Remember this sentence. So Swami Vivekananda says that only this one sentence is enough. He says, if one reads this one shloka, Klaibyam mas bhagama partha naitvati papadate kshudram hridaya dorbalyam taktvote se parantapa, one gets all the merits of reading the entire Gita. Swami Vivekananda says, if one reads this one shloka, this shloka, Klaibyam mas bhagama partha, one gets all the merits of reading the entire Gita. For in this one shloka lies embedded the whole message of Gita. What is the whole message of Gita? Whole message of Gita. Be strong. Don't be coward. Cowardice does not befit you. There is infinite power within each and every one of us. The power of the Atman is there. Infinite power. And you say, I will not fight. I cannot fight. What is that? Yes, you can fight all the problems of life. You can fight. Why? Because there is infinite power of the soul already available. Don't become a coward. Give up this faint-heartedness. That is the message of the whole Gita. All the gist of the Upanishads in Gita and the gist of the Gita is in this shloka. That is why Swami Vivekananda says, while explaining this shloka, he says, in order to remove this delusion which had overtaken Arjuna, what did the Bhagavana say? As I always preach, that you should not decry a man by calling him a sinner, but that you should draw his attention to the omnipotent power that is in him. In the same way does the Bhagavan speak to Arjuna. Nai tattva hi upapadyate. It does not befit thee. Thou art that Atman imperishable, beyond all evil. Having forgotten thy real nature, thou hast by thinking thyself a sinner, as one afflicted with bodily evils and mental grief, thou hast made thyself so. These doth not befit thee. So says the Bhagavana, Klaibyam mas bhagama partha. Yield not to unmanliness, O son of Pritha. There is in the world neither sin nor misery, neither disease nor grief. If there is anything in the world which can be called sin, it is this, fear. Know that any work which brings out the latent power in thee is punya, virtue, and that which makes thy body and mind weak is verily sin. Shake off this faint-heartedness. Klaibyam mas bhagama partha. Thou art a hero, a veera. This is unbecoming of thee. Then Swami Vivekananda says, if you, my sons, can proclaim this message to the world, Klaibyam mas bhagama partha naitvata vipapadate, then all this disease, grief, sin and sorrow will vanish from off the face of the earth in 3 days. Look at what Swami Vivekananda says. Swami Vivekananda, the incarnation of Shiva, the incarnation of Shankaracharya, what does he say? If you can preach this message of Gita, only one sentence, Klaibyam mas bhagama partha, to the whole world, all types of diseases, all types of grief, all types of delusion, all types of fear will be completely wiped out from the whole world, from the earth, within 3 days. Just 3 days. Only one sentence has to be told to everybody. Klaibyam mas bhagama partha naitate upapadate kshudram hridaya dorbalyam taktote sa parantapa. Go on telling this one shloka to the whole world. Within 3 days, there will be no more fear, no more grief, no more disappointment, no more misery in the whole world. Just imagine what a power can be there in one small sentence of Gita. If one sentence only can remove the misery of the whole world in 3 days, what a tremendous power. That is why Sri Krishna, the world mover, the king maker, of the whole world for all times to come. That is been given there. And Swami Vivekananda comes in the modern form, in the modern way. Same Sri Krishna's message he brings to us. Yes. Miss MacLeod, one day she was listening to the lecture of Swamiji on Gita. Suddenly she saw Swamiji is not there. Sri Krishna himself is speaking. She could believe her eyes. But that is the vision she got. Swami Vivekananda became Sri Krishna himself. You find the power? As if Sri Krishna is talking himself. When Swami Vivekananda is talking about Gita, it is as if Sri Krishna has himself taken the form of Vivekananda and telling only one message. He says, if you, my sons, can proclaim this message to the world, then all this disease, grief, sin and sorrow will vanish from off the face of the earth in 3 days. All these ideas of weakness will be nowhere. Now it is everywhere. This current of the vibrations of fear, reverse the current, bring in the opposite vibration, and behold the magic transformation. Thou art omnipotent. Go to the mouth of the cannon. Fear not. Hate not the most abject sinner. Look not to his exterior. Turn the gaze inward, where resides the Paramatman, the Supreme Self. Proclaim to the whole world with trumpet voice. He says, proclaim to the whole world with trumpet voice. There is no sin in thee. There is no misery in thee. Thou art the reservoir of omnipotent power. Arise, awake, and manifest the divinity within. That is the message of the Bhagavad-Gita. And that is the message of Swami Vivekananda. So many of Vedas, the whole gist of Vedas, 4 Vedas is given in the Upanishads, Vedanta. And the message of all the hundreds of Upanishads has been given in a very, very simple way, beautiful way, in 700 slokas of the Bhagavad-Gita. And all the message of the Gita, in a very simple way, in the modern way, in the modern context, for the modern man, has been given by Swamiji Vivekananda. Only one thing. Remember, you are Atman. You are divine. He wrote to Sister Nivedita, my ideal indeed can be put into a few brief words, and that is to preach unto mankind their divinity within and how to make it manifest in every moment of their life. You are divine. You are divine. So that is why Swami Vivekananda, when he went to America, he saw the people are suffering because Christian missionaries were telling them, you are sinner, you are sinner, you are sinner. All along there is psychological makeup. Sinner, sinner, sinner. But Swami Vivekananda said, Vedanta does not recognize sin. It recognizes only error. And it says, the greatest error you make when you say somebody is a sinner. Never call yourself a sinner. Never. The Vedantist, the Hindu, refuses to call you a sinner. Nobody is a sinner. The greatest error you are making when you call yourself a sinner. Come up, O lions, ye, the children of immortal bliss. That is what Swami Vivekananda says. Ye, the children of immortal bliss. The Hindu refuses to call you a sinner. What is our idea of a man? The Vedanta's ideas of a man. If you ask any student, what is a man? Immediately he will reply, man is a social animal, because that is what he has been taught. Man is a social animal. But Benjamin Franklin says, no, man is a tool-making animal. Man is a tool-making animal. But Alvin Toffler says, no, man is an economic animal, but after all he is an animal. Social animal, but he is an animal. Benjamin Franklin says, no tool-making animal, but after all he is an animal. But Alvin Toffler says, no, he is an economic animal, but he is an animal. But Vedanta does not say. What Vedanta does not say that you are an animal. What does it say? Shrunvantu vishve amritasya putra aye dhamani divyani tastu vedahametam purusham mahantam aditya varnam tabasa parastat tameva viditvati mrityameti nanya pantha viditayanaya. Children of immortal bliss. So Swami Vivekananda says, Vedanta does not recognize sin. It recognizes only error. And the greatest error you are making when you call yourself a sinner. You are not sinners. Ye the children of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings, ye devotees on earth, sinners, it is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing liable on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake up the delusion that you are sheep. Your souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. Ye are not matter, ye are not bodies. Matter is a servant, not ye the servant of matter. He gave the beautiful example, the story of the lioness and the sheep. How a lioness was going along the forest and was while jumping over the flock of sheep, it gave birth to a small cub which fell into the flock of sheep, and the lioness died on the spot, and this small cub lion started going along with the sheep and started bleating and started taking grass, and it grew into a big lion, but it still continued to go with the flock of sheep. And one day another lion saw a small lion is going along with the flock of sheep and eating grass like sheep and bleating like sheep, and became amazed. So it came nearer, and as it came nearer, all the sheep started running, bleating, bah, bah. And then this small lion, it also started running out of fear. Then the big lion caught hold of, hey, where are you going? You are like lion like me, and you are afraid of me. These sheep are afraid of me, I can understand. But you are lion like me, why are you afraid? The small lion said, bah, bah, bah. I am sheep, I am not lion. The big lion said, you fool, in spite of being a lion, you say you are sheep? No, you are lion. Then the small lion says, bah, bah, bah. I am not lion, I am sheep. So many times the big lion says, you are lion, and the small lion says, I am sheep. Now the big lion became very much disgusted, caught hold of this small lion, dragged it near a pond of water, and said, look in the pond of water, look at the water, look at your reflection, look at my face. Your face resembles that of mine or those flock of sheep. Look. And then the small lion looked in this reflection. My face is not like that sheep, like this lion. Now you understand? You are like a lion like me. Now give up this bleating. Roar like me. And started roaring. Now come to the forest. You are now the king of the forest. And he became the king of the forest. And then Swami Vivekananda used to narrate this story. You see, this small lion was already a lion, but it was bleating like a small sheep. Why? Because it forgot that it was a lion. Swami Vivekananda says, we are like those small lions. We are like that small lion. We have forgotten our true nature. We have forgotten our true nature. Always telling, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, I am weak, I am weak, I am weak, I cannot do this, I cannot do this. All these negative ideas have come to us, and we have forgotten, no, there is the power of infinite power. This Atman having infinite power is within every one of us. We have forgotten about that. And that is why all this misery, all this fear, all this degradation, everything is there only because of one thing, ignorance. Remove this ignorance. Know that you are Atman, and immediately tremendous power will come. The glory will come, the power will come, and everything that is great will come to you once that inside power will be manifested. Once you come to know about the supreme self that is within every one of us, only it is ignorance. So that is the message that Swami Vivekananda gives again and again. The same message of Gita he gave in the Chicago Parliamentary Religions. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. Your souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. You are not matter, you are not bodies. Matter is a servant, not he the servant of matter. And so many of them, they were suffering, they got a lot of solace. And we always say, Swamiji would always say, if ever I feel like blasphemy when I call you a man or a woman, no, you are not man, you are not woman. You are Atman. You are infinite. You are infinite. You are Atman. That is what Swami Vivekananda used to say. So, an American lady once complained to Swamiji, Swami, you are trying to hypnotize us. Then Swamiji instantly said, Madam, I am not trying to hypnotize you, I am trying to de-hypnotize you. Because already you are hypnotized by telling again and again, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, I am weak, I am weak, I am miserable. You have become weak. You have forgotten your true nature. But this is the truth. You are not man, you are not woman. You are not weak, you are not miserable. Infinite power within each and every one of you. You are that immortal soul. You are the children of immortal bliss. You are that perfect soul. You are that Atman, having infinite power, infinite knowledge, infinite bliss. That is your true nature. Satchit Ananda Swarup. That is your true nature. You are Atman. You are Atman. That is the first truth. That is the second truth. And that is the final truth. You are all that. That message of Bhagavad-Gita coming through the mouth of Swami Vivekananda. You are all immortal souls, holy and perfect beings. Ye diviners are sinners. It is a sin to call a man so. So here Sri Krishna says, Klaibyam mas magma partha nahi tattva hyupapadvate shudram hridayadolvyadyam hridayadorbalyam takto tishta parantapa. Arise, awake. That is what Swamiji says. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. That was he got from the Kathopanishad. But here again, Sri Krishna also telling, Takto tishta parantapa, get up. He is sitting down like this. So Sri Krishna says, get up. This unmanliness does not befit thee. You are a hero and you are talking like a coward. This unmanliness does not become thee. It does not befit thee. There is infinite power within you. You are, imagine, you are a hero and you are talking like a fool, talking like a coward. This unmanliness does not befit thee. A very strong dose. Very strong dose. Then Arjuna comes little down and all his lectures are gone. Now he says, Shishyasteham shadimam tam prapannam. I have become your disciple. Really, I agree with you. Faint-heartedness come to me. I do not know what I should do. I am under dilemma. Please guide me. When this surrender comes, then only Guru can give knowledge. As long as the disciple goes on giving lectures to the Guru, Guru cannot give knowledge. So long Arjuna himself was giving lectures. No one Zen story is there. I'll end with that story. Time is there, only 1 minute. So, a young man came to his Guru and he said, you see, I have known about this philosophy, this philosophy, this philosophy. All this this one I have already undergone. Now I come to take knowledge from you about this. Then the Guru understood the quality of the disciple. He said, okay, I'll give you the teaching, but can you serve me a cup of tea? You know, in Japan, they have got that cup, that ceremony. In Zen meditation, they have got this tea ceremony. So they take tea and Zan and Cha and Chan all go together. Cha, tea, and Chan, Dhyan, all go together. You know, tea ceremony. So they will meditate with tea. Take one sip of tea and then meditate, like that. So he brought tea. So but that tea is not like our tea. That's only just water and some hot water with some plants. So that some tea leaves are there or plants there. Then he is going on pouring hot water. Now the Guru says, go on giving. Then the young man said, if I now pour, it will overflow and the tablecloth will be spoiled. Well, that is exactly what I wanted to tell you. The cup is full. If I now pour my knowledge in your mind, it will overflow, it will spoil. So first you make your cup empty. As long as the disciple hasn't got that humility, that acceptance, the Guru does not pour that knowledge. So here also, Sri Krishna knew that now Arjuna is full, the Arjuna cup is full, he is giving me so much lectures. So first of all, that treatment is necessary. Now after that treatment, now he has come to the senses. He says, yes, recognizes his error. No, I was giving you lecture, you are more wise. Now I come and surrender at your feet. I have known that I am now really under dilemma. You please teach me. And imagine, at this great hour, what does Sri Krishna do? He laughs. He smiles. He smiles. Imagine. Both the side armies are there and they are ready to pounce upon each other, and the general of one army says, I will give walkover, I am not going to fight. What will happen to the President of India? If the general of the army says that I am not going to fight and we are going to surrender, our whole Indian army will surrender to Pakistan, or your country, supposing some army comes and whole of South African army says, we will surrender, we don't want to fight. The general says, what will happen to the President of South Africa? He will collapse. But Sri Krishna, what is happening to him? He smiles. In the battlefield he smiles. Prahasanniva Bharata. Sanjay says, when Arjuna went on telling all these things, Sri Krishna is laughing, smiling. And then he says, Ashochayan annasochastam pragyavadasya bhasase gatasuna gatashusya nanu shochante pandita. You are talking like a very wise man, but the wise men never grieve for the persons who have died or who are going to die, because they know life and death are obverse and reverse of the same coin. So that knowledge of the self now will be given by Sri Krishna to Arjuna. First he will give Jnana Yoga, all the 4 yogas. Swami Vivekananda has given the gist, how to get manifest the divine within. 4 yogas, Swamiji says. So Sri Krishna also, all the 18 chapters, they are being given different names. If you take out the gist, it is 4 yogas. Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Raj Yoga. All these 4 yogas, Sri Krishna will tell Arjuna. With that, how to manifest that infinite power and get happiness both in daily life and eternal happiness, and also peace, daily life, and how to get eternal peace. All this will be told by Sri Krishna through the combination of 4 yogas. First Jnana Yoga will come in 2nd chapter, then again the 2nd chapter itself will come Karma Yoga, then Raj Yoga in the 6th chapter, Dhyana Yoga, and then 12th chapter Bhakti Yoga. In between also you will get so many yogas. And finally, how Arjuna says, Nashto Moho Smriti Labdva, all this journey of Bhagavad-Gita will try to traverse in the few days that we have got. So we end here. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Let us sit for meditation for a short while.